Hello and welcome to another episode of the Embodied Union podcast. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Charlie.
And today we're going to be talking about why we don't believe in dating potential.
Bad idea.
Very bad idea.
Bad idea.
And really common
Yes.
practice of people. So I guess we're just, wanting to speak about this topic because we feel like it's a contentious point for people in relationship. And it's something often that we're supporting couples in managing each other's expectations and desires and needs, and it can get a little bit messy if we don't have a clear path, but also it can get messy because we're not really 100% clear on what it is that we're doing with ourselves, with our own model of what love is and what relationship is. So let's get in. I think the first thing is just having the experience of dating somebody. Maybe we just talk about our own experiences with dating potential. And I'd like actually Charlotte to start this one because it's a topic that when we have discussed it, it's the work that I've done with men. Often I have the experience of women really feeling like they're dating potential and the man not being good enough or not feeling like it's enough. So I guess maybe just speaking from maybe a feminine, but maybe more of a space of what it's like for you or what it has been like for you.
I definitely have dated potential, and what that looked like was being with men and wishing they were further along on their healing journey than they were. I suppose I thought of myself as being further along and feeling frustrated that they either weren't interested in doing their inner work or they weren't doing it in the way that I thought they should be doing it. And yeah, I have a few partners that come to mind. One of them, I needed him to resolve his anger issues so that we could be happy. Had another partner who I needed him to be more grounded, be more present, be less erratic, and then we'll be happy. And we were talking about our relationship now. It's the first relationship I've had where I'm not looking at you wishing you were further along in your inner work or personal development journey. Sure, we still have our stuff come up that we're constantly looking at and working on, but I'm not sitting in the energy of if you were different, then this relationship would be better. And so, yeah, I really suffered from choosing to chase the potential of men rather than just love them for as they are, or actually just leave because it's not a match, it's not in alignment. And I get a lot of women that come to work with me who are where I was. They're dating men who, if he will just go to therapy, if he'll just do his work, if he could just be more emotionally mature and intelligent, then the relationship would be better. And there's so many layers to this, for the woman to be projecting that, there's so many parts to it,
Yeah, lots of compassion for these parts. And I think, in my experience, I don't know if it's just a personal thing of mine of not really feeling like I have. Okay, let's say this for this is some truth in this, is that I say I don't have expectations on my partner, but actually I do have expectations.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
It would be impossible to not.
Yeah, so it's okay, so having those expectations are kindness and, being, and I'll speak for a lot of men, is having their partner be sexually available is one of the things that I think men really want in relationship or want to have the potential of, is having a thriving love life and having a lot of peace in relationship, but kind of wanting that to just be there, not something that they have to work towards or gain the skills of. And I think, this wanting to date for potential, I think the only one that I can really see as a contentious point is potentially for men that want a family and maybe their partner doesn't want to have kids.
So I'm with a woman, I want children, and she doesn't, but I might hang around because she might change her mind or she might grow into wanting them. That's a way that you see men.
Yeah, I could
holding
see
on.
that. Or what I also sort of see in the way that I've worked with couples before is that the man wants the woman to contribute financially, but also be the mum as well. It's kind of like, I want you to be able to do both, and there's that as well of like wanting them to be able to do it all as well. So, I think that is a lot of the time where I feel like men fall down, is they kind of see their partner as a man, in that sense of being able to physically do as much work as a man can do, and then being disappointed when the woman can't do as much, if that makes sense, or hasn't got the physical capacity to do as much or endure as much. And I'm not saying that women can't endure or aren't fully capable of things. It's more just like I see that's what's projected on from the masculine onto their feminine partner. Yeah. So I know that in my experience, I feel like I've been on the receiving end of this experience of being with someone that sees the potential in me, and I have to then try and live up to it. It's like, instead of being loved for who I am, it's, I will love you when you get it right. I will love you when you show up better than you are now. And what I know in my experience, it feels like being unappreciated for what I am doing. So it's kind of like whatever I am doing is just a given, feels like it's taken for granted, but the expectation is that it's not quite enough. And if only it was more, or you did better than what you're doing now, then somehow I'd be more valid or more worthy of love. And I know that can be the experience. I see the experience for men.
I'm really sitting in the inquiry of, where's the line between wanting to champion our partner's growth, but also being in contempt for where they are at? It's like,
very true.
we talked about this morning, and there's still goals I have for us and the dream I kind of envision for me stepping into motherhood, and you really stepping into that role of protector, provider. And so it's like it's something that I long for and I believe that we're moving towards. But the question I asked myself was, if our relationship did not change at all from the way that it is today, if you showed up just the way that you do now for the rest of our life, and like financially it stayed exactly as it is, it just stayed the same, would that be okay? And my answer was yes. It's like, if nothing changed, am I still in? And it was like, yeah, I actually am. It's like a yes. Whereas in previous relationships, it was like, if nothing changed, if he stays the man that he is now, am I okay with that? It was always no. And like, being in that place, I think, is the actual problem. So I think we can champion the growth of our partner and the growth of our relationship and what we all want to like step into for the next season of our partnership. But if you're sitting in relationship and you have contempt for the person in front of you for the way that they are, it's like, that poisons the relationship. I think it does. I think it's like, is this human in front of me? Is this a yes? And if it's a no, I think that's grounds to leave, to be honest.
If it's not going to be changed, if it's not something that they want. I think that's why I wrote some notes, and it's like, if I fall in love with the potential, then I get to complain about them. It's kind of that scenario of, I get to play the victim of, well, if they're not going to live up to my expectation, then I get to be upset at them, and then I get to play the victim or play some role, and that's when it starts, instead of us looking at ourselves going, I'm creating this.
And I'm choosing this.
Yes, and that's, I think, often the blind spot for individuals that I believe kind of haven't done enough work of self-responsibility, of realizing like, oh, I'm actually creating this. I'm actually creating this scenario of being upset at my partner for not being the version of them that I want and blaming them, but not actually realizing that I'm staying around for this. And by probably criticizing them or having contempt for them, it also doesn't bring out the best in people.
No, and that's the thing I really try to support women with, is understanding, because lots of women want their men to do better, be better,
Be further along.
be further
done the
along.
work.
Yeah, and I don't want to just stereotype, but like I do work with women all the time who do believe they are further along than their partner. But the truth is, you might be a fraction further along, but you're not as far along as you think, because if you were that far along, the relationship would just be out of alignment. You wouldn't be there.
You wouldn't choose that person in the first place.
You wouldn't choose to be in the loop of feeling so dissatisfied. That actually shows a lot about where you are at. And I don't mean that.
Oh.
Say that with so much love.
You're such a tough mum.
But apparently, the truth is though, it's like us trying to nudge our partner along just creates frustration and resentment for both. Like your journey, where you're at, that is between you and you,
Yes.
And I have to be okay with that. And if I'm not, then I have to reconcile the fact that I'm choosing to stay here with this man as he is. And if I want a different experience, then I have to choose something different.
And I think I'm going to also advocate for women here in the sense of, I believe what is the pure gift of the feminine in relationship, as far as leadership is concerned, is their ability to invite their man into a better version of themselves.
I so agree.
Yeah, how can they be motivating and not deprecating? Because otherwise the frustration, the unappreciation, the not seen, the criticism, the contempt, the have to fix them, I'll only love them if, or I'll love them but, and it's all those things that actually don't inspire men. And I see it so often, the amount of men I've sat with in my years being a therapist, but also as a men's work facilitator, is men have been told their whole life that they have potential and don't feel like they're able to live up to it. And it starts in school, starts really early on, where I'm sure people think that it's motivating to tell someone they have potential, but it's actually bullshit. It actually just explains to them that they're not where they really should be. They're not living up to their own version of themselves that they're not quite ready for yet. That's hard.
Yeah, and I think there is a way to inspire your man forward through like being the muse in his life, and through respecting him and being in devotion to him and to yourself and to relationship. Like I speak a lot about women being in devotion in love. And a lot of women will say, yeah, but why should I? Like, why should I? If he's not changing, he's not growing, he's not doing it. It's like, you should still continue to work on being in devotion to love. And if he doesn't step forward, then it's not about, well, then I'm going to move down to his level and just meet him in resentment and try and emasculate and control him and manipulate him. It's like you actually get to leave, like not every man will be inspired forward by you being a devotional woman and the muse in his life. But then you get a choice. It's like there's other men out there that will, but it's just like, be the woman who is in respect of her man. And if he doesn't hear the call or make the move, it's like, maybe it's not your man.
Got to respect yourself.
Respect yourself. And that's another kind of angle we can take with this. It's like a lot of women will stay in relationships that do not honor what they actually want, or they're not being treated well, or they're not feeling chosen, or they feel just like for whatever reason it's mediocre. It's not it. and they stay and they self-abandon themselves because they have a like wounding around not being good enough or not being worthy. And so they stay in these average relationships and blaming their partner when really they are just self-abandoning, self-rejecting, and like that is what is kind of fueling the loop that they hate, and they just see it as the part, like it's you that's creating this.
Yes.
But it's actually me choosing to stay and abandoning myself when I know the kind of relationship I want. I'm just going to stay and wait and hope and pray that you get better somehow. And it's, yeah.
And often what I see in this is, and this has been my experience, when I call the end of the relationship, all of a sudden the person that was so unwilling to look at that also then jumps in and all of a sudden is so willing to then all of a sudden meet the what's actually needed in the relationship.
It's the intermittent reinforcement piece, you know. It really speaks to attachment, like a anxious avoidant dynamic here, where the one who's praying and hoping and asking for change and the other will not, and then eventually they get so sick of abandoning themselves, they're like, I'm done, and they step back, and this person comes all the way back in, but just enough to give me a scrap of hope,
breadcrumbs,
just the crumbs, the scraps of intimacy, but it's just enough for me to, okay, I'll lean back in. And then the cycle repeats. And I see this a lot. I'll see a woman she's been cheated on, she's like been abused, and she finally builds up the courage to be like, no more, I'm done. And then suddenly it's all the promises, and I'll go to therapy and I'll do everything. And she stays. She buys back in for one more round. And as soon as she's back in, that person it all goes out the window, and we're just looping around. We have to be able to call this out in ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's a massive one. So often, I mean, and this even goes into the work that, you know, Charlotte and I speak into all the time around, like even for ourselves, like after this podcast, we have our monthly therapy as a couple.
We love therapy.
And it's the whole part in that of we don't wait until it's on fire to put it out. We don't wait for the garden to become full of weeds that nothing can grow in that environment, that we have to basically pull everything out and start again. It's knowing that your relationship needs maintenance, it needs regular check-ins, it needs loving, tender care. And I see it as a bit of a byproduct here, that the criticism it can feel like if a partner is dating someone for their potential, or you feel criticized by your partner, often it's them themselves are very critical on themselves, and you are copying maybe 10% of that criticism. Their nature to be very hard on themselves then bleeds out into the relationship where they're also hard on you as well. And so it's really doing that internal work where we are responsible for each other. And it's like, I have to have safety, trust, and respect for myself, and I also then have to give that gift of safety, trust, and respect to my partner as well. And knowing that there's reciprocity there, like that is the part of relationship. And knowing that there is times for growth, there is those times where our partner falls down or isn't as far along, and can that be okay? Can that be some give and take? Do we have gratitude for our partner having strengths that are different to ours? And that being something that we can collaborate on together, where it's not I'm further along or I am better than my partner. It's like, we're a bloody team. How can we create teamwork here? You know, and recognizing that we don't want to really criticize our teammates to make a good result happen. We really want to be working together. And how can we have those kinds of discussions, whether it's in therapy, whether it's in mediation, whether it's learning the tools and skills of relationship, reaching out to someone like Charlotte and myself that can support couples in this, or, you know, knowing when's enough is enough. And I think that's the part. Maybe have we made it clear for people, like at what point? Like, is there a line, do you think?
Well, I'm sitting with the same inquiry of, if nothing changed and this person continued to show up the way that they are right now for the rest of our relationship, is that okay with me? If the answer is no, I think that there's reason to leave, you know, because I think I think it poisons the relationship to sit in it and just want you to be different somehow. Like, yes, there can be, I don't love that behavior, or there's some things that aren't quite working, and we're both making the effort to go away and work on our own stuff. Like, we can be in that. But if I'm sitting here in contempt for you, or resentment, or it's just a no. But I hope that one day you'll change. I think that it's hard. I'm sitting here not wanting to discourage couples who maybe aren't super content, but they're working on it. Like, we see so many couples who come back from big things, you know, where growth did need to happen. So if both are willing, then it's like, yes. And at the same time, if you're looking at this human and it's just like, you can't accept the way that they are right now, it's like, let them go. Go and focus on you. Let them go and focus on them. And then maybe there can be some reconciliation, but maybe not as well. But it's just...
Yeah, I guess that's so true. Like, I definitely see in relationship, there's usually a more expressive partner and more of a passive partner when it comes to this. Like, I get the person that's also maybe not speaking up, that's trying to not just endure, but maybe gaslighting themselves into thinking that they're the problem because the other partner is more expressive around what they need or what they want. But I think it's like, is there a possibility, or is there a chance that, or a way in which both people, both parties in the relationship can put what they want forward and have those types of discussions as well, where it's actually met? Because I think sometimes, you know, our partner might ask something of us and we have the desire to say yes, but we also don't quite know how to do it, how to do the thing that they want perhaps. So it's like knowing what you also need in that, like asking, knowing that you might need some help, knowing that you might need some support in that as well, and not just saying yes, but not having an action plan. I think this sort of ties into as well that I believe that, and this includes myself massively in the past, was I really wanted to say yes to things, especially around my partner, but I feel like it would then lead me to feeling overwhelmed, or, you know, not knowing quite how to do what they're asking. Or even worse is, I would think I'm clear on what it is that's being asked of me, and then it would be wrong. I would then go and do the thing and then it wouldn't work out. Like, it still wasn't right. So I think it's, again, as you know, having the ability to sit down with your partner, and we do have a free PDF for this, is like a relationship check-in perhaps. It could just be starting with those things where it's, hey, am I making this really clear what I'm asking for? Do you know specifically what I need when I ask you to do X, Y, and Z? Or am I doing it in a way that's actually just having my partner resent me more or feel contempt for me? You know, the difference between having needs and having demands, I think that's important as well. And having like honest conversations, because I can definitely say right now, the level of vulnerability that it truly takes to ask for what you want in a loving way is, in my experience, is really difficult. Even all the work I've done, even being a psychotherapist, there's still that part in me I find it very vulnerable to truly ask for what I want, you know, and to share what's truly on my heart in relationship. So I'm sure that it's no different to others in their relationships as well. And I think like what you said, Charlotte, where it's, if we do leave and we do go off to do our own work, it could be that we really see how it was our part to play in it, how we made it more challenging than it needed to be, and not doing that in the future or setting it up more powerfully. Yeah. So, do we feel like we are complete on this topic? It's a deep thought. Like, I feel like I've got almost more questions now because we did speak about the biology, like, male and females wanting different things and like how does that all work and play into it. And yeah, it's a deep discussion. So if you guys have any more queries or questions on this stuff, or maybe you're sitting there in your car or listening along, having your own questions, please drop them into us. We would love to continue this conversation and continue this work on having epic and thriving relationships for couples. And if you want to get in contact with me on Instagram, it's Lindsay B.
I am Charlie S. Hannah on Instagram.
And we have a couples relationship page as well, Embodied Union, and that's what this podcast is all about. So again, if you're interested in our relationship check-in cheat sheet and you want a copy of that, please reach out as well. We'd love to support you and your partner in your relationship. Critter, thank you so much for today.
Thank you, my love.
I love you.
Love you.